Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Division 6 finals match here in the Collegiate Chess League's 4th season. We have the University at Buffalo versus the American University of Armenia. I'm Joe. I'm the league commissioner, and yeah, I'm excited to show you guys these games. So they've already started. Here we've got Sparky the Dog versus Hovo, who is Hovannes Martirosyan from Armenia, the board 3. Sparky is Joe Riccardi, who is the team captain from Buffalo. Hello to Wikipedia in the chat, cheering on Buffalo. Good to see you. So, yeah, looks like Joe's got the rating favorite here as a board 2, about 700 rating point difference. So that's a big advantage for Joe. Always good to cheer on my fellow Joes. We also have here Mullet Yali, who is 2,300 on board 1 for Buffalo. Big team top board here. So big rating advantage. His opponent Limbo, the 4th board, is rated 1,000. So this should be a fairly simple dub for the Buffalo team. Let's check out some of the Armenian top boards. Here we have Symbodian. This is the board 2, Christine Symbodian, up against Steven, the board 3 for Buffalo. Hello, Brody. Good to see you. So Symbodian is 1892. Looks like they just got the bishop pair. Steven didn't want to retreat the bishop, just elected to take the knight after h6. So yeah, this position is fairly even, but black might have a slight advantage with the bishop pair, depending on how much you value that. If I'm black, I'm getting the knight out. Just develop the knight, nice and easy. And yeah, we're waiting on the 4th board, the Armenian captain and top board. Let's see, there it is. They're playing against Spock. So this is the real top board out of both these teams. Cha-Cha Real Smooth. That is Vahan Nalbandian. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, but I believe he's a streamer. I've seen him stream before. He plays a lot of 4-player chess, as you can tell by his flair. He's a really strong player in 4-player, as well as just in regular chess. So yeah, 2,400. He's the top guy. Gonna be really fun to see him play against Kute, who is the top board for Buffalo. That's a 2,400 versus 2,300 here in Division 6. You can tell why both these teams have made it to the finals. Interestingly, Armenia, I believe, is the number 12 seed. That is the lowest seed in the playoffs, and they were able to upset the number 9 seed in the semifinals, Waterloo, 9-7. So they're here playing against Buffalo. Buffalo is the number 2 seed. So they should be the favorite in terms of seeding, but Armenia, as they've shown in the past, don't care too much about that. They've made it to the finals. They're here to play. So I think Buffalo does have the advantage on boards 2, or on board, well, yeah, boards 2 and 3 and 4. So we'll see if Vahan can carry the team. Symbodian is beating Steven. Maybe there was a piece sacrifice. Let's see. Oh, so bishop takes, and we could have brought the bishop back. We gave it up. And yeah, black's just up a piece. Here, Sparky and Hovo. Looks like Hovo's actually up a pawn. Let's see what happened here. Hovo with the white pieces. So we have knight to e4 from Sparky, and there goes the d5 pawn. Okay. So this could be a potential upset. We'll see. Though they had forfeits in the regular season. That would make sense. But yeah, they're here in the playoffs, and that's all that really matters. All right, so Joe is kicking out this knight on d5. When the knight moves, it's going to open up the d file, and looks like black has 3 attackers on the knight. There were 3 defenders, but interestingly, not saving the knight. We take the bishop first. I was also thinking we could take on c6. We do have to watch out. Our bishop on b2 is hanging. Black could actually take this with tempo, and now we have, well, 3 pieces hanging. How is white going to get out of this one? Yeah, I think moving the d4 knight, probably not the best play, unless you want to take on c6, because it comes with tempo on the queen. So maybe take on c6, then take here first, tempo on the rook, and then you save the d5 knight. Instead, we take on f5, hanging our bishop on b2. The rook lifts with a counterpunch on the bishop. But I think that black will be fine to just simply take one of these knights and give the bishop back. Yeah, you take with the g-pawn, because then that also keeps the d5 knight under attack as well. So we'll see if Joe can find this. He could also save his bishop if he wants, and looks like he does exactly that. But I do think that taking one of these knights probably was better. I think you get a piece out of that. So, but yeah, still should be fine here. In this moment, there is maybe knight h6 check. Put the king up. That'd be funny. You save both knights. You don't save both. You lose one, but you force the king to h6 in order to do it. So that's at least interesting. So here, giving knight check, but this knight covers it. So knight takes should just win a piece. Knight takes is interesting, because then there's queen takes, right? And then I guess you take with this rook, because after knight takes, they went this way. I would have gone with this rook, because then the king could attack the knight, and the knight's out of squares here. So Hovo finds this line, temporarily holding on to the knight just for an extra moment. But yeah, black probably should have taken with the F rook. It doesn't. Oh no, you take with this one because that's a fork. It would have been a fork. Okay, so Joe found a better move than I did. And now Hovo trying to desperately keep up the pressure, try to salvage as much. So attacking the knight. Maybe there's bishop takes, and the knight can come out here. But this knight, first and foremost, is protected, not moving, not blundering the b-pawn. But also, the knight could retreat and defend the b-pawn as well. So that would have been an interesting idea. But here we have the simple f5. This clears way for the king. And this knight is going to have to sacrifice itself, likely, for one of these pawns, getting as much material as possible. Let's check back in on some of the other games here. Looks like Cha-Cha is up a knight and a pawn. No surprise there. Here, Mallet Yali. Still looking somewhat even. We have an isolated D pawn to fight against, and looks like black is putting a lot of pressure there. Looks like white wants to double on the E file. Here we have a result. Symbodian taking down Steven with a nice checkmate there. So that is the first point of the match. Armenia is starting with a lead 1-0. Turning back here, Joe still hasn't gotten the knight, but it is only a matter of time. So looks like we grabbed something on d2. No, just putting the knight there, attacking the bishop. I'm surprised there wasn't bishop takes b7. Actually, yeah, there goes. Maybe, no, that's just a nice fork. So yeah, saving the bishop, losing the exchange, and now gonna lose a piece. So gonna be down a rook. That's not good. Now knight takes f5. This bishop is a good piece though, pretty annoying. Giving check right now. This bishop is also a really bad piece. This king is in the way. Low time for both players. Less than 10 now for Hovo. Should not be too difficult for Joe to convert. I have full faith in Joe. In Joe we trust. All right, bishop to g7, developing. h5, locking white's pawns on dark squares. The bishop can come in now. e3 is hit. Rook has to defend, but black's gonna double. Yeah, no time. So Joe answers back for Buffalo. So the board twos take down the board threes, tied at 1 each. Here we have Mullet Yali struggling against Limbo. Up the outside pass pawn for black, that is definitely a huge advantage, or at least an advantage. Also, there's a time advantage. So it looks like this pawn is going to be able to make its way down the board, supported by both the rook and the king. There goes the f pawn. And there goes the exchange as well. And this king is going to abandon the a pawn for the king side pawns, and that's going to be a fairly simple victory. So Mullet Yali able to convert against the board 4. I would certainly hope so. Same with Cha Cha Real Smooth. They just got their first point. So it looks like the first round, no big surprises here. Boards 1 and 2 beat boards 3 and 4. Here we have the 2 queens and resignation. So tied up 2-2 here after the first round. Let's check out real quick. Yeah, Cha Cha with the checkmate. They were up a piece and able to convert the pawns. Nicely done. All right, so round 2. We're going to have board 1 versus 3 and board 2 versus 4. Again, not expecting any major upsets in these first 2 rounds, but rounds 3 and 4 where we're going to see some major differences. So still some chances in the second round for some upsets. Low chances, but you never know. We could see it. And yeah, for those of you guys watching, I appreciate it. We do have the rest of the league's finals and third place matches to be streamed this weekend. Big schedule on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific. I will be joined by the one and only Stafford Gambit Master, International Master Eric Rosen. Oh no, my queen. Joining me for some awesome commentary this weekend. So really looking forward to that. Don't want to miss it. Be sure to be there. 8 a.m. we're starting with Division 1 third place, Yale versus Mizzou, followed by a Division 2 finals between Temple and Duke. Very exciting. And then followed by the Division 1 finals between UTRGV and U Chicago. That's going to be a big one. $5,000 on the line. Definitely don't want to miss that. And then we're following that up with another match, a Division 4 third place match, Duke C versus University of Toronto. So jam-packed schedule for tomorrow as well as Sunday. We have at least another 4 matches to bring you. Expecting the Division 3 and Division 4 finals, as well as Division 13 and Division 7 finals. So lots of finals on Sunday as well as tomorrow, and lots of clubs gonna be competing for part of the $25,000 in prize funding that we have for this season. So exciting times. This is the last weekend of our season. Thanks for the follow to Chess Abstract. Welcome. Also, hello to White Noise. Always a pleasure to see you. Actually, White Noise, I have some exciting news. So we just sent out our first acceptances for the College Ambassador Program, which if you don't know what that is, you can check that out in the chat. We have that linked. And one of the players is from Iowa State, the Cyclones. So Iowa State is there. I'm going to ask them if they can try to add University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes. See if we can get as many Iowans as possible. Gotta get that Iowa support, you know. So, all right, round 2 underway. And here we have Joe versus Limbo. Limbo put up a good fight against Kude from Buffalo. The board 1 only was down a pawn. It was a big pawn. But here we see Sparky already up a pawn. They started last game down a pawn, so let's see what black did wrong here. They pushed the D pawn, so that leaves the E pawn hanging. So Joe just simply takes that and simply retreats the knight back, saying, I'm just going to enjoy my extra pawn advantage here. Let's see. Here we have the top board from Buffalo versus Hovo. This king, I don't know what it's doing. How did this king get here? Okay, so knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, so that allows for the trade. Here a lot of times you want to take with the B pawn, take towards the center, help support the center, keep the D file closed, don't allow the trade of queens, get castled kingside. Unfortunately here black takes, opening up the center, allowing for the queen trade. Now the king cannot castle, and the king trying to make its way out, but this bishop retreats, allowing for this bishop check, not allowing the king to go into its little home here. This rook making way for the king, but allowing for the bishop check. Maybe you give up a pawn, or maybe it doesn't even work after knight takes. So the king goes back to the D file, and now white castles long with check, blocked with the bishop here, and now taking the bishop. So white has the bishop pair, already putting them to good work, attacking the F pawn, which, by the way, you cannot defend this. I'm just now realizing. The rook has no moves because of the bishop. So, this makes sense. Bishop block first. So now the bishop comes back, and now the rook can defend the pawn, but white can give back the bishop pair if they want, double isolating the F pawns. Also now there's a move like bishop to b5, which is really annoying. Luckily the rook here is defending that. Yeah, so Malat Yali putting on a strong show here against the board 3 from Armenia. Why is the rating difference 1,000? Because this is a board 1 versus a board 3, and we're in Division 6. So once we get to rounds 3 and 4, it'll be less of a disparity. All right, let's check on Symbodian versus Spock. This is the closest rating match, I believe, of this round. Spock being the board 4, another Joseph from Buffalo. We've got Symbodian, the board 2, Christine from Armenia. And looks like we have the queens off. Both sides with a light square bishop. Both sides with a doubled pawn. We have a result here. Cha-cha, real smooth, with a smooth checkmate. So let's see. Cha-cha giving up some pawns, but for some piece activity. Look at this pawn and this knight. Black giving up the fianchettoed bishop, and this bishop preventing black from castling, putting the king in check. Check, and then mates. So a nice little finish here with c5, kicking the knight out of controlling b6 to get the bishop in. The bishop and the knight and the rook combining to corral this king to its end. Nice finish there from the Armenian captain. So giving up, going 2 for 2 and getting the lead back for Armenia. Let's check back in with Joseph and Simbadian. So they've traded bishops. Let's see, trading queens. Yep, defending the h-pawn by trading bishops. And now black takes the open c-file, double isolates the d-pawns. And yeah, Spock's got an advantage here against the board too. That's going to be huge for Armenia if they can pull off an upset here. Or I mean Buffalo. Huge for Buffalo if they can pull off the upset. So black is better here. And up on the clock. This could be a huge lead going into the third. Again, Buffalo, the number 2 seed, taking on Armenia, the number 12 seed. All right, so now we've opened the A file as well. These pawns are also isolated. So, but the difference here is that black controls the C file. White has the rooks on the F file, which does not appear to be opening up anytime soon. The only way to get at this pawn is to push the G pawn, but you got to get through black's G pawn, so you'd have to go with H4, but black is closing the H file, preventing any pushes here. So black is in a completely dominant position. And Simbadian, less than 40 seconds now to Spock's 2.5 minutes. That's going to be tough for Armenia to lose on board 2. So rook on f2, and now black can take the b pawn if they so choose. They're positioning the king first. There's no time to defend the b pawn as the rook will hang. Ooh, that's a free rook. Simbadian in time pressure. Is Joseph going to find it? Yes. That's a huge blunder. Spock playing a great game here. Rook takes g5. Maybe that was a move. Yeah, rook takes g5 was a thing. Then probably you would have to deal with rook check. The rook check, when the rooks are no longer doubled because the king is on the h file, a rook check would force the king away from defending the h pawn. So you lose the g pawn, but you'd also lose the h pawn. So that would have been one way for black to get material back for that. Yeah, that is a big win for Buffalo on board 4 nonetheless. So that's a big upset that ties the match, but I suspect Buffalo should be the favorite on the remaining 2 boards. Here we have Joe versus Limbo, and Joe is up a queen for a rook. That tends to do really well for queens. And here we have the top board, Kute against Hovo. And actually, look at this. Can black take on c5? This could be an upset for Armenia. Armenia could get something going here. Although white's going to try to make a passed pawn using their 4-on-3 advantage here on the king side. Black has a 3-on-2 advantage, but these pawns are doubled, so not as felt as a 4-on-3 advantage. Well, really, it's a 2-on-1 advantage here in the center. So can white make up the difference here using the pawn structure? So now you can take this. Now if king takes, there's simply just e6. Pawn takes, and this one pawn is holding back both of these pawns. 5 seconds for Hovo. So they take with the pawn, g4 on the board, trying to break through. The king comes back, but this is just a losing position now. So Yali again, not like crushing defeats against Armenia's bottom boards, but positional defeats. Strong enough. And we had a result, Joe beating Limbo. So the extra queen, looks like there was a rook fork. Or just a rook giving up itself for the queen. All right. So Joe getting 2 for 2. And I suspect Kude to... Yeah, just you can move this pawn. Putting the opponent on zugzwang. Pawn push. Now you have another pawn push. And now the king has to go. Allowing for white to enter. And you could very simply just grab this pawn, or you can push through here and promote, probably a lot faster. Good technique, and good enough for a 2-point lead going into round 3. So Armenia is going to have to answer back, and this is where the rounds are going to get interesting. Here we have top board from Armenia, team captain Vahan versus team captain Joe Riccardi here from Buffalo. 2,000 versus 2,400. This is where it's going to get fun, close, and exciting. Armenia is going to have to get some work done to come bring it back. Thank you, Jacob. We've got Jacob in the chat. You guys go check them out. Player from Northeastern, one of our ambassadors that we've accepted. We might have like an ambassador-only chat, except for White Noise. But you know, White Noise is just already an ambassador of the game. Definitely one of our larger supporters. All right, so Vahan versus Joe, the battle of the captains. And yeah, we'll see. Vahan is the favorite at 2,400. They could come up with some big points for Armenia against the top 2 boards of Buffalo, who are both 2 out of 2. But the real question is, can Armenia's lower boards produce points as well? Yusuf, you can talk to Northeastern's captain in the Collegiate Chess League Discord as well. They should be, you should be able to find them based off their roles. But yeah, also talking to Jacob works too. So a couple schools from Boston, lots of Boston schools. Definitely want to try to visit Boston one of these days. And for those of you that aren't in the Discord, you can join it using that link. All right, take care, Jacob. Thanks for tuning in. And good luck tomorrow. Jacob's playing in, I believe, Division 3, I want to say finals. Northeastern. 18. All right, so we're going to try to focus on this game, but for now, we're going to quickly look at some of the other ones. Here we have Board 1 versus Board 2 from Buffalo and Armenia. This should be a favorite for Buffalo. Already up a pawn, it seems. But let's see. Black. No, if they take back. Oh, maybe they take back here. I don't know. Tricky stuff going on here in this one. A couple pawns are hanging. A knight is hanging. Black yet to castle. White castled queenside very comfortably. So, okay, taking here. Now we can take on h6. That opens up the bishops. Taking. And now rook taking. So this evens up the material. Rook hits the queen. Queen simply steps back. Queen also making sure to cover some of these squares that the knight could potentially go to. Let's check on Limbo versus Stevens. So, oh my god, is this queen trapped? Oh my goodness. Limbo could have a huge upset here. So look at this beautiful knight on b5. So the queen comes out, and then the queen needs to go back to d8. Only move here. The queen goes to c6 instead, and boom, d5. That is a trapped queen, ladies and gentlemen. Or you got to give up the knight. But actually, no. The pawn takes, and it's still trapped. Yeah, taking the knight, and there goes the queen. So Steven gonna have to play this one down a queen. That's a big tactic from the Armenian fourth board. Limbo. Check out Hovo and Spock. Spock had a big upset in the previous round, now playing against Hovo. So this is actually a close match. Both players really close in rating. But we saw Spock take down the higher rated board 2. So we'll see how this one turns out. Both sides playing with the isolated d-pawn. Black giving up the bishop pair here. White taking back with the rook to lift. So yeah, this should be a good one. Limbo should have a big upset win here if they can hold on. This game also looks fairly even. White's now pushing a past h-pawn. So that's exciting. And let's come back and finish the rest of the Joe versus Vahan match. So where did we leave off here? Yeah, both sides very solid development, but looks like White is starting a kingside attack. And Black kind of flinching here, making some space in front of the king. Maybe trying to help put up somewhat of a barricade, but also creating a bit of a hook. So White's advancing onward, f5. Black answers back by trying to keep it closed, attacking White's knight. And now it is Vahan's turn. Both sides with about 2 minutes on the clock. This is offering a knight trade here. Whites might be threatening a move like g5 to get an f6. This is double-edged, pretty annoying to take up all this space in front of Black's king, but also these pawns are occupying very important squares that maybe our pieces would like to use to infiltrate. So you're taking space, but you're keeping things closed versus, trying to trade. So the rook comes over to d8, and now White has a decision. Black very clearly trying to aim for the move d5. Lots of tension on the square d5. And here we do see g5. So g5 played. The knight's going to have to find a new home. And there it goes to h5. h5. I'm wondering if we can play bishop f3 and try to win a pawn here. That's what I'm thinking. The knight can go to f4. We could still win some material that way. But f4 is x-rayed by the queen. So after the move d5, that's going to open up the queen a little bit to that square as well. So should be interesting. We do see bishop f3, and we do see the knight coming into f4. And now probably we want to take. Pawn takes. And now what? The knight's hopping in. Okay, we are blundering the g-pawn though, right? So takes. And now, can we do bishop takes g5? We do. So that wins a pawn for black, but is it a dangerous pawn? Ooh, white takes back with the f pawn, and now that's a discovery on the bishop. So actually, maybe not winning a pawn. Joe's playing some good moves. He's in some serious time pressure, though. 28 seconds remaining for the Buffalo captain. Hey, Brent, good to see you. Yeah, Armenia took down the defending champs from last season, Sacred Heart University, in a very close match, I remember. Their 1,000 is like 2,500. Let's check on Limbo. Limbo does appear to be crushing Steven right now. Limbo did lose to both Buffalo's top boards though. And how's this one doing? This one's looking completely drawn as can be. And yeah, Mullet Yali with the big advantage. So trading rooks. Rook here looks really annoying. Yeah, going back to the board 1 versus board 2 here, the captain match. All right, so material is even. The clocks are about even. Less than 20 seconds for both sides. Doubled on the D file. Joe has advantage with the piece activity, I suspect. Hitting the queen now. Queen takes b2 as a move. Queen steps back. Now queen's coming in with check. Rook's attacking the queen. Again, queen takes b2. Somewhat leaves the king a little vulnerable. Now, maybe I want to play e5. Okay, doubling up here. But now there's a check. King steps up. Queen comes back. Now there's rook h7. Rook h7, and now what? Pawn push. Oh, that's threatening bishop d5 check. Vahan, 2 seconds. There, that's mate in 1. Oh, he blundered mate in 1. Joe didn't play it. So now it's queen versus rook and bishop. Should be a good win for... Wait, can we give bishop check? Bishop h4? Okay, king comes back though. Okay. But now pawn push. Now the rook is going to try to get to one of these two squares. It's going to be very difficult. Rook block. Queen steps up. White's going to try to push this pawn. 3 seconds for Vahan. Two seconds. Push the pawn now. E6 comes with check. And now rook block. And now you can push the pawn again. E7. There it is. King steps up, and now the queen coming in to help support the promotion. Queen should have gone to d7. Oh, but there's queen check and then promote. That wins the rook. That wins the pawn. Joe gonna take down Vahan in a huge game. Queen here, and there was mate in 2. Mullet Yali won. So that's a big point for Buffalo. Buffalo could they could take it to 8 on this round. And yeah, white's making another queen. So black's only hope some sort of stalemate Trying to give up that bishop. Limbo goes down to Steven. What by flag? Oh my goodness. Limbo up a queen. Queen versus rook, and yeah, missed. Queen takes f6 there. That was mate in 2. One of the dirtier flags. So Joe taking down Vahan. Steven taking down Limbo. And now Spock and Hovo. If this game is a draw, Buffalo wins with a round to spare. And yeah, this is looking like a draw. Armenia is in a must-win out situation. They have to win 5 in a row. This game plus all of round 4 just to force overtime, but I don't see it happening. So for those of you wondering, Division 6 finals, the winner gets $500. Here we have Hovo offering a draw, which should be accepted by Spock. There you have it. And with that, Buffalo, they are the Division 6 champions after a crushing round 3 victory, 3.5 to a half. And yeah, Buffalo at 8.5 with a round to spare. So congrats to Buffalo. They've won $500. And Armenia for getting second place. They also are going to take home some money. They're only going to take home $300, but still very well done from the Armenian team that are seated 12th in their division. So yeah, congrats to Buffalo, $500. It's a nice, some nice prize funds for their chess club. Is University of Buffalo a state? Is it SUNY? Is it State University in New York? I don't know. I like don't think so. I feel like you're making a joke. My flight is boarding, says Joe. Well, congrats to Joe playing at the airport, getting the job done against Vahan, leading his team to victory. Your cousin went there. Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know University at Buffalo was a state. A SUNY. That's cool though. So we have Stony Brook and we have Buffalo. There's probably a lot of other SUNY schools. There needs to be a SUNY championship match. Okay, so we have Spock versus Limbo. And we have the top board here. Mallet Yali versus Vahan Kute Karadas. So yeah, at this point these games are, I don't know. They're just ceremonial. Not gonna affect the score of the match. Well, I mean, it's gonna affect the score of the match, but not the results of the match. Buffalo maybe getting some extra insurance points. Maybe I miscounted. But yeah, 2,400 versus 2,300 in Division 6. Top boards. Vahan getting upset by Joe, who's now boarding a flight. Vahan looking to redeem themselves here from that last round, I suppose. Mallet Yali looking to go 4 out of 4 with only Vahan in their way. Vahan gives up the light square bishop just to double isolate black's c pawns. Probably worth it. But we'll see if Kute can take advantage with the bishop pair. Still waiting on some of the other games to start. Joe might not be playing because they're on an airplane right now, I suspect. Okay, we have Steven versus Hovo. They just aborted. So let's see. Steven has a point. Hovo has a half a point. So Limbo is the only player without a point. They were crushing that last round, but they unfortunately flagged with mate and two on the board. So yeah, but Limbo's looking good here. They got the active D file rook. White could contest this. Also, actually, I take it back. Black has triple isolated pawns. That doesn't look so good. How did this happen, Limbo? Okay, so we have knight takes, bishop takes. That's the first mishap. We got to take with the B pawn here. Take with the B pawn, leave the bishop on the board, attack their bishop. Here you let them take, and now we got to take on E3. We just got to take on E3. Now you take with the B pawn, and now they take on the C file, and now that's how we've left ourselves with these really unpleasant tripled E pawns. And here, definitely we're not taking. We're doubling on the D file. Rook to D8. Rook E to D8. Defend that rook on the D file. Defend the rook on the second rank. Now we take, they take. Now their rook is on the D file, and we cannot contest it. We can't go rook D8 because then they take for free. So, yeah, a couple missteps here from Limbo. And now White's just going to simply try to pick apart these isolated pawns. They are sitting ducks there. Knight to A4, attacking, forcing the pawn to move. Maybe there was rook E5. I don't know. But we've pushed the pawn now, and it is past the point of no return. So now rook takes C4, and now our other C pawn is hanging. We have so many C pawns to lose. And there goes another C pawn. And now our third and final C pawn is hanging. Rook C8 could defend it. No, just offering a knight trade. So knight to C3. Yeah. So Spock should convert this. Check back in. Malat Yali offered a draw here, so Vahan is playing on. Connecting rooks here. So yeah, bishop pair versus knight. White has the C file. Black just now castling. White not only has a C file, but they control C5. So the C6 pawn is isolated. Pretty much. It's not technically isolated because it's next to the D pawn, but it's cut off. Black's threatening checkmate, by the way, on G2. So there's only one move here that's good, and it's F3. White is able to find it, and now Malat Yali trying to give some support to C6. Really backwards pawn. I wonder if White can have some ideas of G4 at some point, trying to trap the bishop. Probably Black can just play like H5 or F5 or something there. Right, so queen a4 attacking the a pawn, rook lifts to defend it, and now we have b4. Trying to lock that knight in there. So white positionally is better because the c pawn is just so sad. And now white's trying to make space for the rook to come to c5. e5 now played. Now the rook's kicking the queen back. White can double on the c file now. This knight, I think, actually wants to come to a5 and attack this thing. I think maybe the knight's just going to stay in the center and threaten check, actually. Yeah, you force the bishop to give itself up, and then this bishop is a monster now on f6. So really good technique here from Vahan. You can take on e5. It's attacked twice, only defended once. And looks like Vahan is going for it. So now the rook goes to the b file. But yeah, Vahan should be able to convert this. I have faith. They're playing this really well. Opposite color bishops though. So Kute gonna try to hold this, keep it as a draw. Let's check on Joe. Airplane Joe here versus board 2, Symbodian. Symbodian not having the best run. Only 1 out of 3 games. Joe looking to go 4 for 4. Lots of time left on this game. Vahan, very low on time. What happened to Vahan's position? It takes trade of rooks. Bishop has to come back, and there goes the e-pawn. Wow. Wow. So, Kute keeping it close. Rook's coming back, or the queen's coming back. I'm surprised we didn't see rook c7. Wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. I was just saying Vahan was playing so well. And then Black had this awesome rook b5 move. Rook b5. And this pawn just completely cutting the queen off. Ooh. That looks really bad. Yeah, pawn push. Pawn here that tries to defend this for the time being, but it can only last for so long. Looks like Malatyali gonna take down Vahan. Wow. 1 second. Trying to give up the queen here. Because there's simply rook takes. But yeah, Vahan throwing all the resources. So Spock did beat Limbo. So they go 2.5 out of 4. Really strong for board 4. And now Queen E2 played. Ooh. Rook G1 flag. Oh, this was a chance at stalemate. Rook takes would have solved the problem now. Rook takes and Rook E1's main 2 there. But yeah, 4 for 4 performance from Malatyali. Can Joe follow suit? Wow, this Buffalo team, they did really well. Actually, let's see their path. So they were number 2 seed, so they started in the quarterfinals. They took down University of Oklahoma 13.5 to 2.5. Then they beat University of Ottawa 12-4, and they're going to beat Buffalo. So they steamrolled this division in the playoffs. They won every match with double digits. Who are you calling, Jaden? All right, so we have 2 games left. Looks like Hovo is crushing on this board, so we'll see if Steven can hold on. Did Steven have the crazy flag against Limbo? I think they did. So maybe we'll see Steven work some dirty flag magic again. Seems very unlikely though. Queen f4 was winning the knight, or keeping the knight back on. So black saved the rook. Probably this works too. Ah, this is nice mate in 2. Queen e1. Very nice finish from Hovo. So Hovo going 1.5. And yeah, this is the last one. Jaden, I don't know who you are or what you're talking about. All right, so we have white up in exchange here. Bishop takes, pawn takes. So now you have rook versus bishop. This wins a pawn. You could have taken here. Bishop takes, we have rook here. Okay, maybe bishop here. Oh well. So yeah, last game of the match. Joe versus Symbodian. Symbodian up the exchange. You thought JJ was watching this stream? Why would you think that? C4, attack the bishop. So yeah, tough position for Joe, but they did their job. They beat Vahan. So Joe might not go 4 for 4, but yeah, now just C5, C6, C7, rook D8. Cha-Cha Chess in the chat. Shout out to Cha-Cha Chess. All right, so Sparky resigns. Symbodian gets a second point, but the final score is 10.5 to 5.5 for the University at Buffalo, winning the Division 6 finals. Congrats to Buffalo as the Division 6 champions, taking home $500 for their club. And congrats to American University of Armenia, the 12th seed, making it all the way to the finals, winning second place for $300 for their club. So congrats to both these teams on a fantastic season, and hopefully you guys will join us again in the next season. So yeah, big match here in Division 6 finals. That's it for today. But again, we got a lot of matches tomorrow and Sunday as well. I'll be joined by International Master Eric Rosen. So you guys definitely want to check that out. He's going to be joining me all day tomorrow and Sunday. We've got at least 4 matches back-to-back on both days. So tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, we have a Division 1 third place match, followed by the Division 2 finals, followed by the Division 1 finals at 10 a.m. Pacific, UT Rio Grande Valley versus U Chicago. You won't want to miss it. $5,000 on the line. Big matches. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow morning. So thanks again for being here, and appreciate all the love and support. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.